This is Kenshin1913, and this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913, and this is...
Mom, hello.
And we are going to be making some Italian style meatballs today to go with your special double-header video with sauce and meatballs. Okay, so how are we going to make meatballs? Well, of course, we're going to need meat, or I guess you could use tofu if you have it. But there's various other types of meats that you can use, that you can substitute. Right now, we have beef, ground chuck, or beef, or just ground beef. You can use. They have stuff in the stores called the meatball pack, which is basically ground up beef. What the hell is it? Ground up beef, pork, and veal. Now, other options, if you're not going with the beef option, you can always use ground up turkey or ground up chicken. And that's still not too bad either. So, some more ingredients we're going to be using. We're going to be using some garlic. We're going to be using breadcrumbs. We're going to have eggs. That's the chopped up garlic there. This is fresh parsley right here. And dried parsley. We're going to be having more breadcrumbs and pepper. And cheese. What kind of cheese will we be using today?
This is Pecorino Romano cheese, and we like to use it. Some people put Parmesan, but we've always used the Pecorino Romano. I'm using, if you watched the previous video with the tomato pasta sauce, I use fresh garlic. This is fresh garlic as well, although you can buy this in the store. It's all chopped because you're using quite a bit. And at this point, I just felt like being a little lazy and didn't want to chop it all.
Which is fine. I mean, if you don't feel like chopping up garlic, by all means, use the chopped garlic. Or if you don't want to buy, or you don't want to shuck the garlic yourself, or use the garlic in the store. So what we have here, well, actually, what we have here is 2 pounds of chopped meat. And this is the recipe we use. It usually makes over 20 meatballs, so it's very good. And we are having our frying pan here, which has what in it?
It has vegetable oil, and as you can see, it's coated on the bottom with a little bit of extra added in. Not too much, because the meat itself has a little bit of fat in it, so it'll break down while it's cooking, and you don't want to have too much oil in there.
Now we can discuss this later, but there are actually various ways to make meatballs.
Yep, some people will actually make them and put them in the oven on a cookie sheet and bake them. You can actually take them after we make this mixture and add them directly to your boiling pasta sauce. Soak up a lot of the sauce. That's the way my sister-in-law,
my aunt.
Peter's aunt, used to make them. So sometimes what I do is I particularly like them fried. But I'll fry some, and then I'll add a half a dozen or so directly into the sauce, so they'll cook that way as well.
Because they are delicious that way. I mean, that's probably my favorite way of eating a meatball, is right in the sauce, because I don't know. I just love the way my Zia, she made them, and she's not around anymore, so you gotta kind of try to mimic her recipes. So let us start.
Okay, we're using 2 pounds of ground chopped meat.
Beef, of course.
This is beef, and as Pete said, this is actually a double recipe. Many times I'll just do 1 pound. It makes anywhere between 12 and 14 meatballs, depending on how big you roll them. And of course, the same thing with this. He said it makes about 24
at least.
But it depends on if you want gigantic ones, then of course it's going to make less.
Okay. So we start with the chopped meat,
and we're just tossing everything in. So the first thing I do is I throw my bowl, throw my garlic in.
How much is that, you think?
This is 2 tablespoons of garlic. You could even put more if you like, depending on people's taste. Then we're going to add our cheese. This is 3 tablespoons of cheese, or about half a cup.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry, I needed to use my other hand.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going to put some pepper. And you're probably going to put about a teaspoon of pepper. I'm using a pepper grinder, so I just kind of eyeball it. And this helping Pete make these videos has been a little difficult for me because I've never actually totally measured what I put in. I can eyeball it and know that I have enough in there.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting actually measuring what goes in.
It's the same thing for me. I've been making meatballs for forever now, and I just eyeball what I need. I never actually measure anything out anymore. Same thing with the sauce.
Okay, so we had the garlic, the cheese, the pepper. This is 2 tablespoons of parsley. This is the dried parsley that you can buy in any store. Actually, I have some beautiful fresh parsley from our garden. And you can use this. What you would do is probably you need double of what's here. Pick it off the stems and chop it up finely and add it into your meatballs.
Yes.
Okay.
So now after that,
the next thing that we're going to add are our eggs. Now I'm doing 3 eggs. They're large eggs. You're kind of have to judge. We may need 1 extra one depending on how moist it feels, and that's something that I can't really tell you until I get my hands in the mixture.
Yeah.
I usually don't put any salt in this because the cheese has salt. The last thing before the eggs go in, we're going to put some breadcrumbs, and this is about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of Italian flavored breadcrumbs.
Yeah, because that
don't use the ones that have the cheese in it, because then you'll have double cheese. You could use plain if you wanted to. You could even sometimes I substitute half and half. I'll do the Italian style, and they have a new breadcrumb out which is actually wheat, so it'll add a little bit more fiber.
Yeah. And now, this is the part which some people might find icky. I know my sister hates the touching the meat. But yeah, now after that, we're going to add 3 eggs, because this is going to be the binding that binds our meat together so that it doesn't fall apart while we're cooking it. Which is pretty cool, huh? Look at that. People learn chemistry. I mean, I'm no Alton Brown, but at least I can tell you what an egg is. It's a binder.
Okay.
Right, so now this is the icky part some people might not like, because it's like...
and sometimes I take my meat out of the refrigerator for a little bit, because it could be so cold that it actually freezes your hand.
Yes, I've had that happen many times.
And then your hand hurts. It goes all the way up to your arm where it's killing you, almost like
So yeah, if you're pretty, I don't know, if you don't really like the cold, definitely let your meat sit out for a few minutes. I mean, that does sound a little dirty, but whatever. We're cooking, damn it. We're not being dirty. Get your mind out of the gutter. All right, so yeah, you just gotta kind of mix it and get it, get the mixture right. Make sure you incorporate everything. I mean, I could have done this part, but I'm the camera guy, I guess. So.
Okay, as you can see, I'm trying to get it all mixed up.
Yeah.
Keep turning it around to get it all.
You need to spin the bowl a little bit while you I don't know what the term would be.
Incorporate everything together and just make sure that it's all looks almost evenly. You can see the parsley all around. You can see the garlic,
the cheese, not the trees. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now
looks pretty
I'm going
good.
to turn my. So that was with 3 eggs. Now the consistency to me feels really okay. And how you can tell is take one. I'm going to turn my stove on medium right now so the oil starts to warm up. But how you could tell if it's going to stick together, roll one. And so, as I said, you can make them as big as you want. This is probably about the way that we do them, and this is the consistency is fine. This is going to be great. But sometimes
if it was being a little too sticky in your hand, what would you do?
You'd add a little bit more breadcrumbs.
And
if it was being a little bit too
hard to
dry and it won't stick together, then you probably would have needed that extra egg.
Yeah. What about if you add a little bit of water? Could you do that?
You could add a tiny bit of water. Some people also like, instead of the breadcrumbs, they'll take some old Italian bread that has gotten hard, and they'll soak it for a little bit in a little bit of water, so the bread soaks up the water. And what you do is you squeeze the bread to get the excess water out and add that bread into the mixture instead of the breadcrumbs. That's my brother used to own a grocery store, and so he would take they did a lot of catering, and when he do the meatballs for the store, he would use like a day-old Italian bread and put the bread in that. So that comes very good as well.
Yeah, some people use, I guess, saltines. Okay, let us continue to put the meatballs in. And as you can see, the oil might not be hot enough yet, but as you can see, it is starting to bubble up. Now, as my mom said, we are going to put, this is the point in which you, if you were making meatballs and you just wanted to put them in the sauce, that you would just roll them up and throw them in your already cooking sauce.
Yeah, and I'm going to add a few in a little bit.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm going to do these here in the frying pan.
Now, this is a great thing to do, because then you can make these meatballs, put this sauce on. If you get a little bread, you can make yourself a meatball grinder if you want. So look at that, we're teaching you how to feed yourself. And yeah, so it takes a bit for the oil to warm up, but you can continue to put the meatballs in there. Now we're using a pretty big frying pan. If you don't have that, if you don't have such a big frying pan, you can use a smaller one. It's just going to take a little bit longer to make the meatballs. Obviously, you'll have to do them in shifts, sort of. But we decided to use a big one just to try to get all of them in. Hopefully, probably not. But yeah, we're just going to continue to put meatballs down.
Okay, here we are. We keep rolling.
Yeah, we're continuing to roll the meatballs. As you can see, the pan is almost full. And just to specify, what kind of size meatballs should these be? Again.
It's probably about as big as a golf ball.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit bigger. And as I said, some people like them really big, so
make them larger.
You can make them larger.
But it's just going to take a little more time to cook due to the fact that it's larger, and you might, it might not cook on the inside. So you definitely want to, at that point, you're going to want to turn your temp low and just keep it on there a little longer.
Right, and the ones that they bake, I don't do it that way, but some people like that, and I believe that you have to put them on for about 375 degrees. You can put them on a cookie tray, just check them so that they start to get brown. Some people put them, do like a steam tray in the oven, so you put the water bath underneath, and then another pan, and then your meatballs on top of that.
So these meatballs are pretty cooked. They're pretty quick to cook. Usually you give them about like 3 minutes on each side. Then you can kind of flip them, and let me see if I can get one over here. I got my fork, and this one was the first one we put in. And as you can see, look, that one is perfect.
Beautiful, yeah.
Right there. Now I think this was the next one you put in, right? You kind of want to remember the order you put them in, so that you can flip them.
That's it.
And that's really it. I mean, my buddy Rob, he's kind of afraid of, I don't think he's afraid of frying things, but he is afraid of deep fryers for some reason, because he's just afraid of all the oil splatting all over the place. And yeah, so you just want to, this is kind of awkward for me because I'm using my right hand and I usually use my left hand, but that's alright. So yeah, you just want to roll them gently into the oil. And yeah, we're not making the meatballs swim in the oil, so you don't want to put a whole bunch. At least before you cook it, you can take out the oil if you think you have too much. But once you start cooking, that's it. Yeah, so it only takes a few minutes to cook on each side. And you really only need to flip them once. But if you see that there's some areas in which you think it needs to cook some more, just flip it in that area. And yeah, if you don't want to use a fork because you don't want to puncture them, I guess you could use tongs. Now we've opened up some more space for more meatballs. That's a spicy meatball. Well, actually, they're not. These aren't spicy, but I'm sure you could add crushed red pepper if you wanted to. But yeah, this is really it. So my mom's going to finish rolling, which we don't have much more. And then what we'll do is we'll throw some of the meatballs in the sauce that we're cooking over here. And then just basically finish off cooking all the meatballs. what you want to do is put them in a bowl or whatever, you know, just hold them.
Some of the fried ones I'll add to the sauce also after, when the sauce is getting close to the time when it's done. And then I leave some just fried because my youngest daughter likes them just fried. She doesn't like them with tomato sauce on it, so
yeah.
We'll do.
We'll be back. Actually, wait, you're done. Let's throw a couple of the uncooked ones in the sauce.
Sure.
And then we'll just finish we're just gonna finish cooking the meatballs because as you can see.
And as you can see.
Yes,
our
this is
another
episode.
Exactly what it's supposed to. So I'm just gonna drop these in.
Now, these are the uncooked ones. Because now these babies will cook along with the sauce. And so don't worry about, oh, I'm putting raw meat in there. Because it's going to cook. Don't you worry. And this is yummy. This is like the best Sunday ever right here. Is meatballs and macaroni. So we'll be back after we're done frying all these delicious meatballs. Alright, so we're back. And I forgot to mention something about these meatballs. What you want to do is, I didn't explain on how we're going to take them out. Basically, what you want to do is take out the meatball like so, as you can see. And, yeah, just basically, when you're done, and again, remember the order that you've done them in, you want to take them out and just kind of let the excess grease, oil from the pan just drain out. There you go. And like I said, if you want, I guess you could use tongs. And yeah, you just want to let the excess grease just get off. The meatballs are pretty much almost done here, as you can see. And you just want to throw them in a bowl. And if you want, you can put paper towel on the bottom. I usually don't. Well, depends on what I'm frying. I usually put paper towel. And another thing is, if you don't want... After you're done making meatballs, if you are frying them, and you don't want your house to smell like a fry house, you can always put on some scenty, smelly candles. Now, I do not own these candles. I am a man, so my mom has a bunch of candles. Although I do like the smells of them. I will not lie about that, but I do not own candles. So yeah, we're just about done. Want to flip this one, and when you're starting to get a lot less meatballs in the pan, you're gonna want to lower the heat as well. And so yeah, just turn on some scenty candles in order to get so it doesn't smell like a fry house in here, like you've been deep frying everything under the sun. So we'll. I like that smell. Some people do like that smell. So. We will be back when all of the meatballs are done frying. Alright, we are done with our meatballs here, the fried kind. And let us try one. Now make sure after you're done, make sure that you wash your hands because they're piping hot. That's a hot meatball. Now I can't help you with the meatball burps after you're done eating them, but we can't help you to eat them. So this has been Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Enjoy and happy eating.
Alright, and we are done with our meatballs. Whoa! Whoa!